Welcome to CFS Collective. I'm your host, David Crowther, and today I'm with Elvin Escaline, and Elvin and I are going to be talking about training today. But before we get started, as an owner of a roofing company, one of the biggest challenges we have, at least here in the state of Florida, is the help that we use, the guys that actually put on the roofs. And while we can find decent people, they all have to be trained, all of them. But let me take a few steps back and tell you about how I was trained back in the, back in the 70s now. I came from Chicago, and I had joined a union. It was actually called Local 18 out of Joliet, Illinois, eventually taken over by Local 11 out of Chicago, and they had an apprenticeship program. It was a 4-year program that basically brought you from point A to point B, and then to point C and point D. And once you completed your apprenticeship program, you got to earn what we call journeyman wages. In other words, it was highly paid wages at the time. And if I remember right, that was in the $12 or $13 an hour range back in the day when I was roofing. Well, what that said was, then I moved to Florida. Florida being a right-to-work state, it's a little bit different down here. There are no unions, which means there's no formal training programs, or at least there wasn't up until recent. And today, I want to talk to you about that, what training programs exist out there today, and what training programs we actually do in-house. And so today, again, I brought Elvin, and so I want to talk to Elvin about at least some of the training programs that we do in-house today at CFS.
Some of the programs we do, we have a ladder training, of course, harness training. We also do CPR, first aid training. Like you said, before roofing, I didn't have no training. It would just start working. Here you go. Once I came to CFS, you approached me and said, we need to come up with a training program. And that's what we're doing. We train the guys every other week. I have got certified through CFS, and that's some of the trainings that we do out there also.
So you actually do some of the training for the employees here at CFS, is that correct?
That is correct.
In any given time in your training programs, how many guys attend that?
Well, we actually bring everybody in training. When it comes to harness training, ladder training, they all come.
So you could have 100 to 200 people in there watching you figure out how to put a harness on, is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah.
Yeah, and putting a safety harness on correctly makes a big difference, doesn't it?
Oh, yes, it does.
Yeah, we've had some guys fall off the roof before and had the harnesses catch them.
Correct.
I'm wondering if we saved lives.
Oh, we have.
Yeah,
we have saved lives.
Yeah, that's big. So that's safe. That's some safety training. There's also we have some heavy equipment here, like cranes and lulls and forklifts. What have we done there?
We also have in-house. We have forklift training. We also provide that on the weekends. Anybody who want to get on a lift, they have to come in for training. We'll put them through a training. We'll sit them down with there's a test after that, and then we actually do hands-on training for the guys to make sure they do it correctly and safely.
Okay, what about, we also have big cranes out back.
Right.
The cranes that reach into the air, probably 160, 170 feet in the air. You got to be trained on those too, don't you?
That is correct. That's something that actually we send the guys out to get trained on. The NCOO, I believe, they're the ones that do the training. They actually get certified for the boom truck.
So for the boom truck, so they got to have some out in the field training and actually operate the crane itself. And then don't they have some classroom training that they have to do?
Yeah, they have to go for a whole week classroom training.
What does something like that cost?
And, individually, it will cost about $13,000.
So our crane operators have somewhere in the vicinity of $13,000 worth of training, not counting if we've trained them on a forklift or if we train them on a harness or any other training. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
Yeah. Training's expensive, isn't it?
Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Worth it.
So besides the training, what we do in-house here, there's also the NRCA, which is the National Roofing Contractors Association. They have a pro certification training.
That is correct.
Can you elaborate, or can you tell us a little bit about that?
So the pro certification is like your license to become a roofer. Plumbers have it, mechanic have their license. So the NRCA came out with a program. It's like you have to go through our course, once you complete the course online, that they come and do it on hands training. They bring somebody a training from outside instructor, and they got to show their techniques, make sure they know how to install the system correctly before they can actually become a pro certified. We train them in-house. Instructor comes in the later on and give them the test.
Do you recall what that cost to get certified, this pro certification by the NRCA?
Yeah, I believe it's close to $1,800 per person.
$1,800.
Correct.
Wow. So I want to speak to that personally, because while I went through a 4-year apprenticeship program up in Chicago, and I was recognized as a trained roofing mechanic, I moved to Florida. You know what was interesting about Florida? Florida didn't recognize what I learned up in Illinois. It's kind of like the old saying, I don't care what you did up north, you live in Florida now. I think we all might have felt or heard that. So when the NRCA actually developed the pro certification program, I was on board with it. And I remember presenting it to the guys here, and the guys were all on board. The guys that have been here for many years were so happy that the NRCA actually came up with the program. It isn't, while it's a great training program, it also basically says, hey, I'm a pretty important person, and that I take my career very seriously, and that I do good work, and that I've actually certified to do what I do as a career. I think that resonates in the field.
Oh, yeah.
I think.
Oh, yeah. Everybody wants it.
Yeah.
But,
And the NRCA recognizes this across the entire country.
that is correct.
And I think that was my whole point was, while I thought I did a great training program up in Chicago, my training program was not recognized anywhere else in the country, right? Until I moved to Florida, and now the NRCA has this pro certification. While I'm not bashing the training that I've got, it was done back in the 70s and the early 80s, if I remember right. All right, so we got the pro certification. Then there's the track program. Are you familiar with the track program?
The track program, it's kind of the new employees. We'll put them through the track program. It's a program that they could do online, little by little. After that, they do hands-on. It kind of get them ready to become a pro certified.
So the track program, which stands for the Training for Roof Application Careers, that's what we're talking about.
That is correct.
And you're saying all our new employees will go through the track program?
That's our goal. We want to get our field guys, all new and old roofers through the program.
Okay. And so if we provide the training here, then these guys become experienced at what they do, and therefore we can afford to pay them more money, and so on. They will provide more for their families, for themselves, and actually provide productive lives.
Correct.
Right? That's the goal.
Let's go.
Okay, I love it. The guys have a great opportunity here at CFS to do the training at the track program for the pro certification program through the NRCA, and all our in-house training.
Correct.
Okay, Elvin, I guess that wraps it up for today. So I want to thank you for being our guest on the show today, and I want to thank everybody else for just attending and watching, and have a happy roofing week.